Welcome back to Fruitful Minutes. Today we're wrapping up our series on diet trends. And today, Molly, we're going to talk about intermittent fasting. So what do you know about intermittent fasting?
I mean, I really just know the basics that it is time bound. So like what you're eating and when you're eating is kind of the priority with intermittent fasting.
Sure.
I don't know if there's any like diet restrictions or anything like that.
Right.
So hopefully you can fill us in.
Yeah. So there's two main ways that people do intermittent fasting. And like you said, there's no like hard and strict food rules as terms of like, you're not cutting out carbs, you're not cutting out sugar. What you're doing is you're restricting your eating to periods of time in the day. Okay. So there's two ways to do it. One way is where you do 24 hours of a fast.
That's a lot of time.
And you do that 2 days a week, 1 to 2 days a week. Right.
Okay.
So that's all you're doing. You're doing your normal routine, and then 1 day out of the week or two, you're doing a full 24-hour fast.
Okay.
Which works for some people, doesn't work for all people.
Right.
I get it. The other way, and I think the more popular way, is called 16-8.
Okay.
So you're fasting for 16 hours, and then you eat for 8. So just to kind of give like a visualization, you're just restricting your eating window. And how do you think we get 16 hours of fasting in without like,
Honestly, I don't know because I feel like I couldn't even go like 8 hours without eating.
Right.
Does the evening play a role in this?
So you are able to sleep through a whole chunk of your fasting, right? Which is a great way because a lot of people freak out when they're like, I'm going to be fasting for 16 hours.
Right.
You're sleeping through a big chunk of it.
Sure.
So a lot of people just start their eating window later in the day, right? You get up, you do your normal routine, start eating around 11 or 12, and then you have an 8-hour window to consume your food, and then you cut yourself off again.
Oh, pretty simple.
Pretty simple.
Okay.
And because you're not cutting out any specific food groups, or you can incorporate this into any other dietary thing that, so if you're eating paleo, you can still do intermittent fasting with it.
With the paleo
You're just
foods.
doing paleo foods in your 8-hour window of time. So it's very modifiable and it's very flexible. So if somebody has a weird work, schedule,
right,
you can shift your window to what fits your needs best.
Oh, okay. So like if I don't get hungry till 11, maybe 11's the start of my window. If I get up early, maybe 6 o'clock in the morning is the start of my window.
Right.
Okay.
If you want that window to start early, you just end it. You just have the 8-hour window, right? So like if you want to eat early and end early, because some people really like that. They're like, I hate dinner. I love breakfast. Fine. I'm not hungry in the morning.
Yeah.
So it's easier for me to start later.
Okay.
And have a full 8 hours that way.
Get you through the afternoon.
Very flexible. There's no like you must start at noon.
Sure. Okay. So then between the two options, the 24 window or the 8-hour window or I guess 16 of the fasting, is it something where you ease into that, or that's just kind of like what it is if you want to do it?
So I think 16-8 is easier to ease into, right, versus a full 24-hour fast. Sure. And for anybody doing fasting, I recommend, start slow, see how you feel.
Yeah.
Anybody doing any fasting, you have to listen to your body. And if your body is saying like, you have too low blood sugar, things are not okay health-wise, stop your fast, no matter what day. If you're in your 24 hours and you're not feeling good, just stop it and just do it a different day. Okay. Right? You have to listen to your body. I run low blood sugar, so I don't do a 24-hour fast ever. It's too much for me.
Right.
I can't get through it.
Right.
I can easily do a 16-8. So 16-8 is going to be a little bit easier to transition to, but everybody's different. Sure. So it just depends on the individual, what they feel comfortable with. And if they're familiar with fasting, it's easier to hop into a full 24 hours for some people.
Okay. And so ultimately, what is the benefit with this? I mean, because, with diets, people are usually like for the weight loss, but are there any other added benefits to doing something like this?
So with the intermittent fasting, a lot of people are doing it for weight loss.
Yeah.
Right? You do get some natural caloric restriction because even in your 8-hour window, people are like, oh, you're going to have a buffet and eat for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Which just doesn't happen. Right?
Grazing for 8 hours.
Full, and then once you get used to fasting, your body actually gets less and less hungry. So
you're like training your metabolism.
You are.
Okay.
So the other benefit of intermittent fasting is it helps enhance your cellular turnover. So when your body thinks, and if you fast for 16 hours, and like that is a sweet spot number, your body does kind of kick into a gear of like, it gets a little worried. Are you going to get enough calories coming in? Are you going into like starvation mode? So it kind of starts playing a game where it's like, if we're not going to get food coming in, let's start getting rid of like cells and things that are not functioning to the fullest degree so that when we do get nutrients in, can use them more efficiently.
So it's kind of somewhat of a detox process too then?
It's a little bit of a detox process. We were also never made to eat like 3 square meals a day. You know, like back in the day, hunter-gatherers, they did this.
Yeah.
Right? There was feast and then there was famine, right? So our body is made to do this. We're just not used to doing it anymore.
You've gotten a little excessive, for sure.
Absolutely. So it kind of also takes a lot of kind of like the heavy toll on the liver down, right? Like you're actually giving your organs a break and a chance to like just function a little bit without constantly pouring food in.
Well, it also kind of seems like it could be like a behavioral benefit too. Like you're kind of training yourself to know like this is when I can eat, be smart about how I eat so that I can kind of get through those 16 hours.
And this is what hunger actually feels like, because a lot of people they're just eating on a set schedule, and I'm like, do you eat when you're hungry or just eat because
like it's noon and you're like, I should be having lunch, let's just go eat. And it's like, what if you're not hungry? Or breakfast is a big one too. It's always like this emphasis on breakfast. But I'm like you, I can't just wake up and eat. No. So thanks for sharing those tips. That was super helpful. If you guys have any questions on intermittent fasting, or maybe you've got some great experience, feel free to leave those in the comments. As Dr. Callie said earlier, we are ending this series on diet trends, but we're going to start up a new one next week. So be sure to join us. We look forward to seeing you on the next Fruitful Minutes.